almost halfway through 2026. Don't ask me how, but we are. And last year in December of 2025, I posted a video talking about all the new releases coming out in 2026, but we really only had news for the first half of the year. And now that we're almost halfway through the year, we do have more news on the new releases that are coming out in the second half of 2026, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. I've compiled a list of over 20 new releases, and we've got a wide array of genres. We've got fantasy, romance, mystery, literary fiction, the rest of them. And before we go ahead and pop right on into it, if you're new here, hi, my name's Katie. I talk a lot about books on my channel, and if you're not new here, welcome back. We're gonna start out in the month of July with a new release that I don't think I shut up about it since last year when I figured out about it, and that is Heartstopper Volume 6 by Alice Oseman. This is coming out on July 7th. This graphic novel series is very popular. I mean, there's a TV show and a movie coming out, and I've talked about it many times on my channel, but I just feel like the way that it's explained in the synopsis is so unbelievably accurate and kind of cute. It says, boy meets boy. Boys become best friends. Boys fall in love. Everyone in school knows Nick and Charlie. Everyone knows they're going to be together forever. And then it goes into some specific stuff about Volume 6 that I don't want to get into because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But I just thought the way they described it was really cute. And basically in the first volume, they end up meeting each other. Charlie is openly gay at the school the year prior, and he ends up getting bullied for it a lot. And him and Nick become fast friends in their homeroom, and things lead to another from there. These are so wholesome. It gives you that first love feeling, and you just can't help but root for Nick and Charlie. It also discusses deeper themes of other things that high school age kids end up going through, which I really appreciate because I feel like a lot of the times in YA novels, they don't always get as deep as Alice Oseman does in these graphic novels. But obviously they are real things that happen, so they're very important to talk about, and I just cannot wait to read this. I'm currently rereading the beginning of the series, so I will absolutely be ready when the sixth one comes out. Next up, we have Yes Chef by Grace Riley. This is coming out on the 21st of July. It says that it's The Bear meets It Happened One Summer. That's by Tessa Bailey. I've never read that before, but I know a lot of people enjoy it, and I absolutely love The Bear. That's one of my favorite TV shows. This is said to be following a down-on-his-luck chef and a determined social media maven who strike a reluctant deal to bring a beloved restaurant back to life. After reading the synopsis, this does sound quite like The Bear. The main male character in this book, Jack, who is the chef, he ends up having a public meltdown in Manhattan, and he decides to move back to Florida, where he's from. He's angry, he's grieving, he's just going through a lot of stuff. His life is absolutely spinning out of control. And that's whenever our female main character, Poppy, ends up coming into the picture, and she is actually the daughter of Jack's former boss. Poppy has this reputation of not taking things seriously enough, and she just wants to prove herself, so her and Jack are going to reopen this previously beloved restaurant and try and revamp it. This just sounds like the epitome of a cute, fun, spicy romance. I love romances where one of our characters is a chef. If you don't know, I met my husband at a restaurant, and this is nowhere near our exact scenario, but it's just kind of fun and atmospheric and makes me feel nostalgic sometimes. Next up, on July 27th, we have A Study in Sparkling. This is by Jodi McAllister, and this is the second book in her Love Notes Interconnected series. The first book was An Academic Affair. I didn't end up reading that one, but I had heard great things about it, so I'm still interested in reading it before I possibly get to A Study in Sparkling. But this is following a single mom who's absolutely not looking for another relationship, only to fall for the younger owner of her favorite wine bar. Fiona, who's our main character, her husband ends up leaving her for his secret family. You're joking. That is absolutely crazy. It seems like both of our main characters are under quite a bit of stress, and they just want to keep things casual. They don't want to add anything more to their lives, and I assume that's not going to go very well for them, and they're probably going to fall head over heels for each other. The last book coming out on my list in July is called Beginning, Middle, End by Valeria Luiselli. This is coming out on the 28th of July, and it is said to be a powerful page-turning novel about the tale of a mother and a daughter starting over, searching for a new story. Our main character in this novel is asking herself, how do you begin again if you've got the wrong beginning? This story is set in Italy, and it's following 4 generations of a family of women, and this mother-daughter duo are now on a road trip to try and figure out their lives. It seems like the mother is interested in reconstructing things and figuring out how things are going to work now that things are different, and her daughter is on a quest for the origins of their family history. This sounds quite intriguing, and I just love books about women doing things. Moving on into August, on August 4th, we have Take What You Can by Naima Emma Coster. This is a literary fiction novel that is said to be a rich panoramic exploration of female friendship, class, new motherhood, and independence. Our two main characters, Val and Millie, became very fast friends, and now they're in their 30s and at the same phase in life. They're both married and they both have baby girls on the way, and they end up deciding to move to New York to raise their children and be near each other. Millie is a successful influencer married to restaurant royalty and is occupied with her desire for independence, and Val is a brilliant journalist who is struggling to write her first book and fit into her old friend's new world. It looks like they used to be a trio, but now they're just a duo, so they don't really know who they are and how they fit together without that third person. And there's a lot of stress on their friendship relating to marriage, motherhood, class. And there was a rift in their friendship back in the day that has long since been buried, and it seems like it might get brought back up again and possibly destroy their friendship. I love books about friendship, and I also love books set in New York, so I am quite excited for this one. Next, on August 11th, we have Let's Kiss and Tell by Joss Richard. I actually have an arc for this one, and I'm really excited to read it. And guys, this has fake dating in it. I could not be more ecstatic. That is my favorite trope ever. This is following our main character, Lucy, and she's a sex columnist. In her column, Lucy writes about how you don't need a partner to be happy, but then her team claims that a lot of her readers are actually in relationships. And now enters Marshall, our male main character, who works at the same company as Lucy, and Marshall desperately needs a date for his ex's wedding, which already crazy that you're going to your ex's wedding, Brody. But the fake dating is mutually beneficial. Marshall can prove that he's moved on, and Lucy can end up writing about being in a relationship, how it makes her feel, well, actually end up breaking up eventually, and proving her overall point that relationships don't solve everything. Now, obviously, since it's fake dating, we all know what's gonna happen, but I fall for it every time, and this sounds good. Moving on into September, on the 1st of September, we have the second book in the Stonewater Kingdom by Rachel Gillig called The Knave and the Moon. I read the first one, The Night and the Moth, last year, and I really enjoyed it. Rachel Gillig just has such beautiful prose while still having this mystical, gothic, and eerie tone to it. It reminds me a lot of V.E. Schwab. And in the first book, we're following our main character, Sybil, and she is what is called a diviner. She's been dreaming for 9 years, and she ends up dreaming for other people, and in those dreams, she's predicting their future. She's kind of giving them fortunes. And people from all over the land know about the diviners, and they will come and seek out the diviners for advice on their life and just to see what's gonna happen and get their fortunes read. But one day, the new king ends up coming to get his fortune read, and it didn't go very well. And all of a sudden, on that same day, all the other diviners are disappearing one by one until Sybil is the only one left, and she decides then in that moment that she is gonna run away and try and figure out where the other diviners are with the king and some of his knights, most notably the knight named Roderick. Oh my gosh, the yearning in this book was so good. There were so many moments with such great tension in this first one. There's also a gargoyle that ends up accompanying Sybil on this journey, and he is the perfect comedic relief. He is so funny, and his story was just so heart-wrenching. The ending of this book as a whole was absolutely insane, so I cannot wait to see where she takes this story in The Knave and the Moon. I am absolutely ecstatic for this. Next, on September 8th, we have The Pirate Queen by Ariel Lawhon. This is a historical fiction said to be a sweeping historical adventure that's inspired by the life of Grace O'Malley, the legendary Irish folk heroine who risked everything to defend her people. Grace's biggest dream is to be a sea captain, but her family and society have different plans for her. She's the only daughter of a powerful chieftain, so her role is to secure a strong alliance through marriage and bear children. So she's married off against her will, and she ends up being honorable, and yet there's a betrayal between her and her husband, which ends up actually leading her to live her dream. And she's finally leading this mighty fleet, but Queen Elizabeth's incursions into Ireland grow bolder, and she's actually going to fight to defend the people she loves, her ships, and the land of Ireland against the power-hungry English. This says, keenly observed and fiercely written, this new action-packed novel channels the untamed beauty and harsh realities of 16th century Ireland, as seen through the eyes of an unforgettable heroine who rightly became the Pirate Queen of Ireland. I absolutely love historical fiction. I love a story about a strong female main character, so this sounds right up my alley. Also on September 8th, we have Meet Cute Magic by Morgan Elizabeth. She's a witch who can't fall in love without getting her heart broken, and he holds a grudge like no other. This is following our female main character Rosie, who owns a bookstore, and she just wants to fall in love, but her family is cursed. And in order to break it, she has to be in cahoots with Jack, who is the video game shop's owner, and he kind of has it out for her. He does not like her. He says she's a disaster, and she's forbidden forbidden from even going into his gaming shop. This is a paranormal romance. There's witches. Obviously, I love a book about witches, and I feel like the cover just screams fall, and I'm always looking for a fun fall witchy romance. So this sounds like it might be that. Also on September 8th, I guess it's a big day for new releases. We have Love Felt Like This by Julie Olivia. She came out with If It Makes You Happy last year, and everybody loved that one. I read it. I thought it was good. I just thought that it was a little bit long for a romance, but her cover was absolutely stunning, and it was very atmospheric. It was giving small town Gilmore Girls 90s, that nostalgic feeling, and it was just a perfect cozy small town romance. This one is about a grumpy rock star and a joyful children's show creator who are going to revive television magic. We're following our main character Griffin. He is a singer-songwriter, and he's working on a sophomore album, but he has writer's block. He also recently came into custody of his 2-year-old daughter, so he really isn't in the mindset to be locked in for writing music. Then enters our female main character, Beverly. She produces a children's television show, but her nonprofit is losing their funding, so she's putting all of her own savings into it. Griffin and Beverly end up meeting because they are both performing on a variety show, and their chemistry is so off the charts that they end up helping each other with their projects. This seems to be opposites attract, as well as quite a bit of forced proximity, and it also just seems like a fun, cozy romance to read in the fall or winter months. Another book that's coming out on September 8th is a new one by R.F. Kuang called Taipei Story. This is said to be a wryly humorous and profoundly moving coming-of-age novel that grapples with grief, language, and culture shock, all set against the backdrop of an unforgettable summer in Taipei. College freshman Lily Chin is off to spend the summer in Taipei at an intensive language program like so many Chinese American students before her, hoping to connect with the culture she inherited but never fully understood. But a promising start quickly unravels. Her classes are grueling, her roommate is driving her insane, and a reckless trip to the hot springs with a guy she barely knows soon has her classmates viciously gossiping. She feels adrift, a foreigner in a country she thought would feel like home. Then Lily gets the shocking news of her grandfather passing away, and the loss forces her to grapple with now unanswerable questions about her family history. For the genres, it says literary fiction, fantasy, and romance. So not sure what this is gonna give. I don't know if this is like a genre-bending story, but it sounds quite interesting, and I love a good coming-of-age story. Also, this cover is quite stunning. All right, on the 15th of September, we have the third book in the Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo. The first book in the series is Ninth House, that came out a few years ago. That was all over Book Talk, and then the second one is called Hellbent. And this series is supposed to just be a trilogy, so this is actually the conclusion to the story. I never read Ninth House. The main reason why I included this in this video is because I know so many other people have read the first one, so I just wanted you guys who have read it to be aware that the final book is coming out if you weren't. Especially because I feel like a lot of the new releases in the second half of the year don't get as much love and exposure in the media as the ones in the first half. But I know that this series is quite genre bending. It says it's fantasy, dark academia, mystery, fiction, horror, paranormal, and it also says magic. I don't think magic is a genre, Goodreads, but I guess I'll let you have that. I don't know. We also have a new release from Ellen Hildebrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. This is coming out on the 15th of September. It's called The Thoroughbreds. This is the second book in her The Academy series. This story is set at a boarding school called Tiffin Academy, and all of the characters are returning for their senior year. In the first one, there's a big mystery with this new app that everybody has, which I don't really know how I feel about. I don't really love like phones and social media in books. I like to get away from that while I'm reading, but I do know that a lot of people love Ellen Hildebrand, so I wanted to include this one as well. Also on September 15th, we have Grim Tidings by B.K. Borison. This is a part of her Ghosted Interconnected series. Last year, she came out with Good Spirits around the holidays. It was so cute. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was one of the best Christmas novels I'd read in a really long time, because it's really hard to walk the line of not being too cheesy while also having those holiday elements in there, and I felt like she towed that line very well. And this one, Grim Tidings, first of all, the covers of these are absolutely stunning. Love them so much. This is following a runaway Grim Reaper who is trying to save a life as she clashes with a skeptical guardian, forcing them to form an unlikely partnership beyond the grave. Our female main character is named Darcy, and she is tired of death, but she's a Grim Reaper, so kind of ironic there. Our male main character, Gabriel, is a guardian angel. He has a bar, and Darcy walks into it one day, and angels and Grim Reapers don't really get along, so he's trying to decide if he wants to hold the grudge or help her out. This sounds sounds so good. I feel like it's just a little bit different from your classic romance where they have more unique struggles because it is a paranormal romance and there's a little bit of a fantasy element. I feel like recently I've just been wanting romances with a little bit more. I've been wanting something different because a lot of things have been feeling very samey recently. I mean, I still love the romance genre, don't get me wrong, but I'm just yearning for something different. And I feel like books like these really give me that different, unique feeling that I'm wanting from romances right now. Coming out on September 18th, we have This Much Is True by Catherine A. Sherbrooke. She has a wonderful name. My name is Catherine, if you didn't know that. Our female main character, Veronica, feels like she has it all. She has a great veterinarian career. She has an awesome marriage, 3 wonderfully grown children. But one night, Veronica is meeting her daughter's future in-laws, and she is shocked to recognize Ted, who was involved in an incident during high school that changed the trajectory of her life. Having never told a soul about that night, Veronica's past reemerges like a grenade. Her daughter and her daughter's fiance ended up planning this weekend for their parents to get to know each other a little bit better. So during that time, Veronica is unearthing troubling memories, questioning her own recollections, and grappling with the impossible. And she's nervous because she can either hold back this devastating lie or reveal their shared history and possibly destroy her daughter's future. This is a women's fiction. To me, it sounds very enticing, and I love a book about family drama. On September 22nd, we have Free Falling by Lila Sage. This is the second book in her Sweetwater Peak Interconnected series. The first one is called Soul Searching. This is also a paranormal romance, and it features an antique shop owner and a farmer who fake a relationship to save their legacies. But will they be able to fool the ghosts of their past? Our female main character, Clark, is haunted by the ghost of her childhood crush's father, and he absolutely will not leave her alone. And our male main character, Leith, has a clause that his dad left in the inheritance, and he thought he was the only one who knew about it, but Clark drunkenly spills that she knows everything about it too, so I think you can connect the dots here. Leith is Clark's childhood crush. It's a small town paranormal romance. I have still yet to read anything by Lila Sage. I need to read her Rebel Blue Ranch series. Oh, showing you my blanket. Hey. It's a little chilly in here, sorry. But I do want to give it a chance this summer if I'm in the need for a good small town cowboy spicy romance time. And I might give these a chance this fall if I'm in the mood for something like this because they do sound interesting and a little bit more unique with the paranormal elements. I'm kind of finding it interesting that there's a lot more paranormal romance that are rising in popularity right now. Next, we have a new book by John Green coming out on September 22nd called Hollywood Ending. This is following rising young actors named Kai Laramie and Juniper Castillo. They're both in this movie together, and they both think that this is their breakout role. They're on the verge of falling in love. And it talks a lot about behind the scenes in Hollywood, while also examining the insatiable attention economy. It's a deeply observed novel about the tension between a public and private life and finding your safe someone to hold on to. Tender, heartbreaking, and shrewdly funny. This is a story as only John Green can tell it. I haven't absolutely loved John Green's books in the past, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I did read The Fault in Our Stars whenever I was younger, and I did love that, but everything I've read as an adult, I haven't absolutely loved. Besides his nonfiction work, Everything is Tuberculosis, I thought that was absolutely fascinating and very well done. But everything else I've read from him hasn't absolutely hit for me, so I'm interested to see if I read this one, what I would think of it. I do like books about Hollywood though, so that does sound interesting. Next, we have a novella by Stephanie Garber. It's called The Mirror of Infinite Endings, and it is in the Once Upon a Broken Heart world. This is set after the third book in the trilogy, A Curse for True Love, and it's following Evangeline and Jax. They finally found their happily ever after, and everything here in the Hollow is wonderful and perfect. Nothing can go wrong. No one is keeping a secret, except for maybe somebody. But don't worry, it's not going to rewrite reality or alter history or change the ending of Jack and Evangeline's story. Definitely not. That sounds reassuring, Stephanie. I absolutely loved this trilogy whenever I read it a few years ago, and I feel like it's about a 50-50 for me if I read this one or not. Maybe I will, just because it feels nostalgic going back to this series, and I did absolutely love it, but I feel like novellas for me, if the series isn't continuing, I feel like it's not an absolute necessity for me to read them unless I'm really in the mood for it, so we'll have to wait and see on this one. Actually, it has illustrations, 20 pages of illustrations. That's quite cool. This is low-key bringing me back. I remember whenever Jax was one of the first like fantasy male main characters that I fell in love with. He's just so flirty and confident and cocky, and I love that attitude. So you know what, maybe I will end up reading it. On September 29th, we have The Thief and the Traitor Bride. This is the second book in the Hand in the Heart series. The first one is called The Second Death of Locke. These are by V.L. Bovalino. I know the first one is currently on Kindle Unlimited, and I have heard amazing things about this book. I've just been waiting because I knew the second one was coming out this year, so I wanted to read them a little closer together. Okay, scratch that actually. This is a standalone romantic fantasy, but it's set in the same world as the second death of Locke. Okay, interesting. Anyways, there's a ruthless spy, a deadly mission, a thief who could ruin it all. Our main character, Noor, unbeknownst to those closest to her, is a spy, and she is tasked with infiltrating enemy lands in search of a powerful relic. And she's forced to join forces with a great thief, and the only person for the job is her estranged husband, Caspian. They had a disastrous end to their marriage, but in order to make it through this, they're posing as a happily married couple. Guys, this sounds so fun and tension-filled. It also like gives a little bit of fake dating vibes too, but it's a fantasy. I definitely want to read the first one first and then get to this one, but it's making me want to read this one even more. This sounds really good. On the 27th of October, we have the 6th ACOTAR book. This is a fantasy romance series. I'm not gonna go too far into it because I feel like everybody and their mama has heard about this series, but it's very popular. I read the first 5 years ago now, and I really like the original trilogy. I just don't think that the novella was necessary, and I also didn't really like the 5th one that much, honestly. But I'm interested to see what she ends up doing in this 6th book and if I end up enjoying it, and we still don't have the title for it, so there's that. And then finally, the last book that is currently on my list, we have Alma Vampires by Elena Armis. This is the first book in her Icarus University series. And I would presume that it's going to be an interconnected paranormal romance series. An unsuspecting heiress with a target on her back must enlist the protection of a vampire whose wealth and secrets rival her own. Me hearing vampire, instantly thinking of the Vampire Diaries, instantly getting giddy, instantly specifically thinking about Damon Salvatore and Klaus Michelson. Our main character, Vala's life instantly changes. She goes from being a normal college student to inheriting a ton of money. There's a blood debt? How does that work? Okay, so our male main character who's a vampire, his name is Hadrian, and him and Vala don't really trust each other. Okay, the ending part of the synopsis sounds so good. Can Val decipher the secrets of her legacy? And can she accept that what she feels for Hadrian runs deeper than attraction? Answers always come at a cost, and these could shatter her heart or bind her soul to the monster she desires most. Another paranormal romance. Again, I'm surprised that these are getting so much popularity, specifically right now, like we're having a resurgence, which I'm honestly not mad about, but this sounds really good. I've only read one book by Elena Armis, and it was I think it's called The Roommate Experiment, right? I don't know. I ended up enjoying it though quite a bit when I read it a few years ago, and I feel like it kind of pulled me out of a book slump that I was in. So I think I like her writing from what I can remember, and this sounds quite enticing. But those are all of the new releases that I had on my list to share with you guys today. If you guys have any that you guys are excited about, especially if I didn't mention them, it would be great for you to mention them in the comments down below so we can all be in the know about the new releases together. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you got a new release or two that you're excited about reading out of it. If you did enjoy it, it would be super awesome if you could like and subscribe. It really does help my channel a lot. And if you watched until this far in the video, comment down below the candle emoji right here for the candles on my left so I know who the real ones are who watched until the very end. And I think that's gonna be it for me for today's video. I love you guys so much. Hope you're all having an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in my next video coming up real soon. Bye guys. Gotta do this, don't we? Hello? Wow, so beautiful. Oh, my battery's dying right as I'm going to film the video. Perfect timing. We love to see it. Bet you never expect YouTubers to lint roll their microphones, and yet here I am. Yeah. Peace. Bye.